Here we are, it's October 3rd. Got a cold front coming in tonight. I see on that Facebook that somebody's already harvested your deers. I want to congratulate you on that, but you might have wanted to hold off a little longer so you could actually scout and hunt the sign, hunt fresh sign. But they each their own. Nice thing about October is that's the time you want to kill your doe, if you're going to kill your doe, and get that out of the way. And you want to keep an eye, start taking a temperature of your hunting ground. That's when the sign's going to start being made, and you want to hunt the hottest sign. We're going to meander on down and see what's going on, see if we come across any sign. Like I say, this is October 3rd, and it's going to get pretty cool tonight, and I'm sure we're going to set a camera up on the hottest scrape we find and see what happens overnight, because those bucks are starting to paw the dirt. But let's see what's on down the trail, and we'll share it together. There's no food plots in this timber, folks. That's about 3 miles away. This is Iowa hardwood timber that I hunt a lot. Hunted for 20 years. And a lot of big bucks pass through here, but there's never a given. And the food plots are over there for another purpose. But this is Iowa hardwood hunting, deer hunting at its best. Well, there's the first little rub on a rub line, and we're on a travel corridor, and that's the first sign that we found this season. Yeah, as we pan around here, you're looking for fresh rubs, and if you can do this, make a pass through every week or so, at least every week. You get a rainy day, come cruise your woods. That's going to let you know if that rub wasn't there and how long it's been there. And so we're just cruising through, and any rub that we see, we're going to sort of make a mental note of it, and then we can gauge the temperature of the rutting activity as it heats up. Like I said, we're on a main deer trail, north-south trail, and you can see that's been pretty heavily ran for quite a few years. And we're just going to keep on meandering down here, looking for fresh, buck sign. Not doe sign, buck sign. And by that I mean rubs and scrapes. What you're looking at here is a very large oak tree that has lived out its usefulness, unless it's for firewood. And that has altered this corridor here, which for years you could walk right down this dry creek and get into your stand. Well, now that's going to change the travel pattern quite a bit. There's some deer through here. And I haven't been in this timber since the last time I left it in November of 2013. But this is the things that you're looking for, trying to figure up new game plans. And it's a beautiful day to be scouting. Beautiful day. It's just slow. It's not bright in the woods, as you can see. Any fresh sign stands right out. And do your scouting and forego your hunting. I would rather do scouting far more than hunting, because you can't hardly do both at the same time adequately. Once you've done your scouting, then you can get into your hunting mode. But when you're doing your scouting, your main purpose is to warm up to your woods and to actually scout. And it's pretty hard to do both of them at the same time, because you're concentrating on two completely different subjects, one hunting and one scouting, and it's really hard to really get a clear picture of what's going on around you. So don't be afraid to go into your woods and just leave your bow, take your camera, scout thoroughly, and you'll have a lot better open mind on what you're looking at instead of trying to do both at the same time. Here's a product of all that rain that we had this year. This road right here used to be a logging road, and they hauled the timber out a few years ago. Now you can just hardly, if you didn't know that this was the road, you probably wouldn't know it was the road. And that's how fast it growed up. I used that set of trees right there in the background where that group is. Killed a buck out of there a few years ago when that road was first open, and within that group of trees right there. But this was, I mean, you could drove easily down through it at that time, but now in just a few short years it's overgrown again. And finally, this is one of the first years in a long time that you could actually see fresh track on the trail. And 2012 and 13, it was so dry in these hardwoods that you couldn't tell if anything had walked down these trails. But now, with the moisture in here, you can see fairly fresh track. And it looks like we may have came into our first scrape up here. Yeah. Now that's, you know, that's fairly fresh. You got your overhanging branch. And that's what we're looking for today. And so we can sort of watch how these grow and see if they, you know, if they get any bigger or the usage on them. And that's what main purpose we're in here. And it, like I say, it's a beautiful day. No bow in hand, just camera. It's pretty hard to hunt. Same time you're doing any scouting. And just up here on this same, no more than probably, I'd say 20 yards, they got a rub on a tree up there. And it's not a real large rub, but you know, they've been dinking with it. And you can see the trail right there. You probably, most of the experienced hunters already know that. But for some of you that are just first-time hunters, there's our first little rub. So, you know, like I say, it's not nothing to write grandma home about, but they're starting to make a rub line. And as we stand right here, we'll pan back over here to this rub, and we're going to move the camera without moving. And you can see, you should be able to see that shiny rub right up there. So now you got a classic rub line right on a trail, which is sort of cool, and that's what we're looking for on October 3rd. Now, if the buck that's making that, he's probably still going to be traveling that this early in the season. So if you wanted to, you could probably set up pretty quick and probably get the character that's doing that. Now, only God knows how big a buck that is, but they're going to still be in that holding pattern for a few more weeks and still be running this trail. And after that, it's going to get willy-nilly. Like I said, this is no large rub, but there's one right back there, no more than 15 yards away. Then there's this one right on a trail. And that's what you want to look for is some of you new guys just getting into archery. If that's what you get into archery for, is to hunt the rut. In gun hunting, this would mean nothing because that'd be on farther down the road. But for your first time bow and arrow hunters, fresh rub, trail, can't guarantee how big the deer is. Big deer rub little trees, little deer rub little trees, but very seldom do little deer rub big trees. But that's what we're looking for today. I'm going to turn this camera around and you should be able to see. This is the other rub. Right here, the other rub. Oh, that's no more than 10 yards apart right there. and they're going right down north and south. A classic rub line. Yeah, we're coming up on another small rub up here. Right there. That would be, I believe, the third rub that we've seen on this trail. And there's a bottleneck up here, so they're taking the high side. And that's what's fun about scouting, is you can have an entire day. And a lot of the mentors today are foregoing this with the youth. If you would take a young person out and bring them through the woods on a day like this and let them see this natural sign made by the deer that they're wanting to harvest, it'd be far more educational to them than just setting them on a grain field or a green field in a shooting house, putting a 50 caliber, 45 caliber muzzleloader in their hand and having them shoot the deer that Dad wants them to shoot, not what the deer they want to shoot. When they instilled that youth season here in Iowa, I spoke out against it. I didn't speak out against about the youth hunting. I just wanted them to shoot a doe and learn all there was, how they got to the killing part of the hunt. But so much of that's been eradicated out of today. It's the young father, the young mentor that is actually doing the hunting, and they're using the youth of this state as the drive-by shooter, and that's how I see it. And that's not what they shouldn't be teaching them that. They should be taking them out in the woods. Whether they harvest the deer or not is irrelevant, but they should be bringing them up on woodsmanship skills, making them a solid foundation so that they can go to the woods on their own in the future and decipher signs. But I guess they're just going to go to a green field and sit there and pull the trigger on something. And I guess if that's where we're at as a society, who am I to say that's wrong? But in my belief, I would rather much have a young child out here tagging along, showing him what the deer do. And then, if we get lucky enough to harvest one, that would even be a bigger fulfillment. Now let's keep on going down the trail. Here's another thing you should be looking for, natural funnels. As you notice this little wash in the woods, it comes down through, and it's not very deep. But as we pan over here, it drops off. I can see the Chinaman's bald head down there. And it's a mere, from where this drops off at, I mean, that's a hell of a hole. And you pan back up here, and you see it's shallow. Well, that last rub, that's how the deer, the does and the bucks are going to traverse. They're not going to jump over that. They're going to look for these funnels. And this is what would be a funnel situation right here. They're going to go to the highest side where it's the least intrusive to cross, and they're going to funnel up right there. That'd be a good place if you could get a tree stand hung somewhere in the proximity of here, because like I say, this big ditch right here has created a natural funnel. They're not going to cross that by any means. And I mean, they could if they were being shot at with a 12-gauge shotgun, I assume. But on their natural walkabout, they're going to cross right here at this gentle wash. And it's amazing how that gentle wash can go from that to that. That's 8 feet deep at least, in just a matter of 10 yards. You can notice those old traditional rubs that are on that tree right there. That's right here on this natural crossing. They didn't go through that big ditch. But a lot of bucks have come through here over the years. Yeah, the nice thing about an overcast day like this, if you see white bark, it pops out right now. It's like chrome in a junkyard with the sun out. And it's an overcast day today, so any new rub tree just pops. And if you had the sun in here, you wouldn't see it as readily because of the glare that would be in here. So that's what makes it a perfect day on a cloudy overcast. And it's even better if you got a light rain, if you're concerned about leaving scent. But I don't get too concerned about leaving human scent. Because folks, if the Midwestern deer have growed up around human scent. Now granted, you'll get busted now and then, but it's not as alarming as you would think, especially once that rut gets going. They got their nose in other places, and that's what gets them in trouble. Here we go, that's another rub. I wouldn't have spotted that on a bright day, but and like I said, we're out here taking the temperature of the woods and the upcoming rut. And if you walk through here every so often, between now and November, when you think prime time is going to be, you're going to notice the rubs are going to start being more frequent, and they're going to start being bigger. And that way you know when you want to be spending all day in the woods. And right now, you know, they're not really too aggressive. They're doing some head butting, and that's about the extent of it. And we're going to wander down here. I'm going to show you something that's been here for 20 years. And this is what knowing your woods and woodsmanship will help you on your sequester of a buck deer. And we'll wander on over here. Now what's before you, this scrape right here, I found 20 years ago. 20 years ago. I found this in August of it'd be 20 hunting seasons ago. It's been 1995. This scrape has been active for 20 hunting seasons. This is a spot I call Alice's Restaurant. And if you've done any following of my videos, you've noticed I've had several bucks come into this, and several large bucks come into this. 20 years. That is pretty cool. As long as nothing changes dramatically in the woods, they'll keep doing it. But this was opened up on the 3rd of October. We're going to set a camera up over here, as we usually do, and catch the activity. You've seen me urinate in this. You've seen me rub my head. They got the limb broke up there already. And they'll keep right on coming in here. That's what's fun, is when you can see the repetition and learn from that. And there's so much more to hunting deer with a bow and arrow than what's on these TV shows with the pearly white teeth and cropped goatee, and now they're into the face paint real heavy. They don't teach you anything. They're just promoting product and personality. Now we've got this scrape on October 3rd. We're going to monitor this right on through the entire hunting season and see what happens. That way, we'll both learn from Mother Nature. So let's get putting the camera up. Yeah, as you can see, that's really fresh. They got the broken limb here, and over the period of years, you can see where I've wire-tied limbs on here. You can still see some of the leftover remnants of plastic wire ties. But this scrape has been here for 20 years. And it's probably been here longer than that, but I know it's been here for 20 years. And it's down here in a creek bottom where it's almost impossible to hunt this because of the way the winds swirl around. But that's where big bucks put big scrapes. That way they've always got the wind. And I tried to hunt down here, right down on this, and I'd always get busted because it was a unconstant wind swirling around at the bottom of this creek basin. But October 3rd, Alice's Restaurant opened up for business. Well, here's the setup. Here's the scrape. There's the camera back there on the tree. At about, probably no more than 8 or 10 yards away. So we'll see what comes about this Alice's Restaurant. Well, here we are a week later. This is the 9th of October. We're on that same trail, and here's another scrape over this limb. So we'll follow it on down and see what it looks like a week later. Like I said, I don't have a bow with me. I'm just on a scouting recon. I don't need a weapon. That's the same tree they rubbed a week ago. Did a little bit more rubbing on it. Another nice thing about having moisture in the ground, you can see where they've been walking. This is what I'm saying about scouting. This was not here a week ago. You know the big funnel that had this, where they funneled through and had the big drop off? We're probably 15 yards from that right now. Look at the size of that rub. That's what I say. I'm not against youth hunting. I'm against the way they go about it and their mentors. There's no sign on September 15th in the timber for young people to see and admire. It's way too early. If you bring them out right in the woods right now, that would be great. Then they could see sign like this and know it's fresh. So they would actually be hunting. Because in my opinion, and a lot of you may disagree, there's not much of a challenge to putting a child on a green field and letting them shoot an animal on your command. This is, if they came out, and most men would have an orgasm when they seen these kind of rubs. This was not here a week ago. That's what I said. Scout. It rained a little bit this morning. This is what scouting's all about. No weapon. This lets all my scouting senses take over. I don't have to worry about shooting. If I spook the buck that made this, so it be. Because I'm a hunter. And that's the way it's going to be. Because chances are it's not going to happen anyway. That's why I would like to see more youth be in the field at this time instead of setting up on a green field on September 15th. Because there's absolutely no buck sign in the timbers at that time. They learn nothing about scouting, only about killing. So don't get me wrong. I'm not against the youth hunting. I'm just against the way they go about it and the way the state set it up, because that's wrong. That's not teaching them in anything. It's just teaching them how to shoot an animal. And when they get my age or they get a little older and they jump out of that range, they're not going to know how to scout or do anything. They're going to want to go sit on a green field and hunt. So don't take that video part wrong about the youth season, why I spoke out against it. Because I want them to see this. This is brand new. Okay, there's that big rub that was not there on the 3rd of October. Now it got made between the 3rd and the 9th. And as I pan around here, right there was that funnel that I was telling you to set up on. Here's a scrape right here. The broken limb. And the big rub is right there. This is so much fun. This is what you call hunting. Yep, they're definitely starting to... It's heating up. As I told you, you got to keep taking the temperature. There's the overhanging limb. And beneath it is a fairly fresh scrape. That's what I'd like to have the youth of this country see. And then they would feel so in touch with what they're doing. Well, we're down here checking out Alice's restaurant scrape. I told you last time it's been here for a good 20 years. And it's still being used today. So we'll pull out the camera and we'll take the card home and see what size of bucks have been running this area. There's another big rub. We're no more than 12 yards from Alice's restaurant. That wasn't here last week at all. That's another one. Pan right back there. You can see the camera on the tree from here. We'll move this back around here. That should be right in there. There's the tree. There's the camera. And the scrape tree is no more than 15 yards at the most. Well, temperature's getting hotter. When you see rubs that size, little bucks don't do that. That's worthy of getting out of bed at and going after. But like I said, oh, and look what's up here. I just seen this one. This one is just right up here, right behind it. And that's why you do not see this in the youth season at all. And like I say, that's an old traditional rub right there. And it's being tore up now. This just happened in the last 7 days. And you can come around on the back side of here and see the old traditional rub. So this is what the youth season should be teaching the youth. Unfortunately, it's not. That tree right there is where the other big rub is, on the back side of it. That deer was coming up out of the bottoms, like I told you. That's why I set the stand. I'm going to set my stand up on top of the hill, because maybe we can get both of these in the same view. I don't know. It's possible. Yeah, we can get them both right there. I get them lined up right there. You should be able to see both those rubs right there. Now, that's a sizable rub, and that's a sizable deer. Now, I realize that a lot of you, they're probably skeptical of some of the things I do. That's why they call me the non-typical Norwalkian, because I don't follow other men's paths. I'm a path breaker, not a path follower. Never have been. When you can find rub like that and rub like that in 7 days. Now, we had a real cold snap. That's probably what got that going. And it's only going to get better. And like I said, we're just taking the temperature of the rut. Full moon out right now. About 30 days from now, I tell you what, this thing is going to be red hot chili peppers. So, whether you believe in my theories of coming out scouting without a weapon, because I'm not here to kill nothing, I'm here to scout. And like I said, if you're trying to scout and hunt at the same time, it don't work. A week later, from what we seen last week, it's totally changed. The hardwoods of southern Iowa are heating up. As the temperatures Fahrenheit go down, the heat and the temperature in the woods is going up. That's it from the non-typical Norwalkian.